Hello, everyone. Hello, I am Renee, and welcome to RX for Life. Today, we're talking about what are the 5 challenges to dismantling systemic racism, part 1. So, I am the CEO and founder of RX for Life, LLC. Prescription for Life is a health equity, consultancy, and education agency where we create employees who see employment as empowerment, employees who remain in compliance with anti-bias and anti-discrimination policies, employees who are willing to do the job they are hired to do. As a result, reducing acts of retaliation, which is the leading cause of employee lawsuits, and preventing burnout, the leading cause of America's public health crises. We specialize in advancing human health. I am a self-published author. Yet here I stand, my journey from bondage to liberty, a memoir, and then my latest release, Bias and Burnout, 10 Power Moves for Workplace Healthcare Equity, which is a healthcare business book. I have a 30-year healthcare experience, a 17-year nursing career, where I have had the pleasure to practice in areas like critical care, adult and pediatric, solid organ transplant, more specifically heart and lung, pain management, peri and post anesthesia. My passion is nursing. From the hood to the boardroom, your health is my business. Not so long ago, I almost lost my ability to create or to even earn an income because of burnout. I was attempting to cope with systemic racism in the form of systemic employment discrimination, which is a form of chronic stress. There is where I understood that our ceilings, the US workforce, people who face discrimination in the workplace, that our ceilings to true health is bias within the healthcare system. More importantly, what happened to me is happening. It's happening to millions of other employees, which is why since 2020, I have been researching, applying theory, writing, blogging, and providing services to other gainfully employed persons in an effort to protect and guide their health outcomes from what I like to call the greedy administrator, systemic racism, corporate gains, profit before people, all lead to burnout. People in want of employment rights are in a constant state of chronic stress. They deserve help from a healthcare provider who has overcome those same challenges. So thank you and welcome to what are the 5 challenges to dismantling systemic racism, part 1. But before I get into those 5 challenges, I want you to move your thinking from systemic racism, which is broad and abstract, to employment discrimination, which is narrow, concrete, measurable, data-driven, and affects every industry in our nation. Another reason to focus there is because those are the men and women in danger and are asking for our help. Employment discrimination. Yep. So, what are these 5 challenges? Number 1 is fear of retribution. Fear of retribution. People don't want to ask for and stand up for and tell people to stop and know that's hurting me in the workplace because they fear retribution, which strikes me as a little odd because retribution actually means justice. It's a reckoning. It's payback for the trouble. However, because it's internal, we seem to overthink the what ifs, and we seem to gravitate more towards the negative self-talk that, who are you or who am I, and they have more power than I do, or whatever the case may be. What's important is that we want to get employees to see opposition as an opportunity for career growth, personal growth, and leadership within their industry to stop the harmful negative side effects of employment discrimination. Number two, acts of retribution. Retaliation is the flip side of retribution. However, it's public and it's illegal. Okay? It's public and it's illegal. Retaliation also, according to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, continues to be the #1 legal cause given merit to filers of discrimination, right? People have a right to file complaints of discrimination, as long as they, are in good faith about it and they actually feel like something is happening. Like, who are you, or who am I to tell someone that there's merit or no merit in the way that they're feeling? They have a right to file and say, stop hurting me. We do not have a right to exert our power, our ego, our position within a corporation or within an organization on someone who's asking you and trying to express to you, the manager or a colleague or someone, that what you're doing to me is hurting and I want you to stop. So again, we want to get employees to see opposition as an opportunity for career growth, meaningful conversations, leadership in that industry. Okay, I want to get into some content, and this is part 1. So in our next video, I will discuss the last 3 challenges, which are ineffective decision-making, feelings of powerlessness, and internalizing public issues as a personal problem. Internalizing public issues as a personal problem. I might just touch on that just a little bit right now. What that's saying right there is that discrimination in the workplace is a public issue. It affects productivity, production around the department. It causes moral dampering and distress on other employees, and as well as spills over into the consumers. I'm in healthcare, so discrimination is a big problem for our consumers, right? Which is part of the reason why I'm doing this. And you don't want to internalize public issues as a personal problem, because that's way too much burden for you to handle, okay? So in our next video, we'll talk about how RX for Life is equipped to help prevent preventable stress-related diseases known as burnout, okay, from our workforce. So as I move on about fear of retribution and acts of retaliation, can you imagine that woman who is experiencing discrimination in the workplace, fearing for her health, her ability to earn an income, her well-being? She's had a household, she has some children, she may or may not have a husband, and she's worried between her internal thought process and external forces, her professionals that she's seeing, her administration, doctors, not really caring about the real issue of her health outcome. Because everybody's in this for business, right? But we're trying as a society to get to the point where we care and equitably care about an individual and her health outcomes. So why do I say her? According to the EEOC, again, out of the 100,000 souls who file complaints of discrimination yearly, the majority are African American women, which may make empathy hard for men who run our industries, who don't see her want for justice and equality as a concern, which may not make business sense, smart business sense, to focus on such a small number, 100,000. I get it. When I started my business back in 2012, I was laughed at by business coaches for focusing on such a small number. But hey, like I told them, it took 4 years for my case to resolve in my favor, in my justice, in my equitable resolve, and to be made whole by the God that I serve. Yes, this is my highest worship, okay? Because without me following the word of God, I would have fallen victim to America's public health crises. My point is that, can you imagine what happened to those other 399,000 souls who did not have this information that I am here to bring to you all today, who were maybe less willing to stand for and wait for their justice that fit them well, that fit them like a glove? Where do you think they are now? Some may have, won a lawsuit, got a little ghetto rich, what I like to call. Others, you know, the EEOC probably helped them do that, or others may have contacted some employment attorney. And what some of my previous clients have said, that employment attorneys have told them, call me once they fire you. What does waiting to be fired do to the psyche? What does waiting to be fired do to the GI tract? What do waiting to be fired do to the mental health of someone? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually is taxing. What does it feel like waiting to be fired so that an attorney who is supposed to be helping someone navigate these discrimination claims can be compensated? They want damages to happen. I don't want damages to happen. I've been through this. Damages are damaging, and no amount of money can fix it. Others, they gave up. Maybe they accepted, the diagnoses like of depression, and, ended up injured from psychiatric medications. There's just a whole plethora of things that can happen to a person when they're experiencing employment discrimination without advocacy, support, and an understanding of how to apply and how to use and how to wait for employment policies, right? What I do know is that the few clients that I have worked with prior to 2020, prior to me pivoting away from working with clients who are in the throes of employment discrimination, and I was able to catch up with them, or they sought me out as they were in maybe the third or fourth stages of chronic stress, and I was able to help them to regain focus and to address their situation. They're in lawsuits, right now, and some of them have been paid off, which was what they were, wanting, a hefty payout, as well as early retirement, or even just payback. And I was able to accomplish this with these clients without the use of an attorney, because right is right, right? And if you know enough and you can able to create a plan and communicate with someone, then there can be resolve. So yeah, the 399,000 other people who filed complaints of employment discrimination is big business, not just financially, but publicly, because I do believe that a lot of the people who are on the streets injured from prescription medication, or addicted to opioids, maybe they were on workers' compensation and had some workplace injury, and the stress of employment discrimination magnified their physical pain, and then they ended up becoming addicted to opioids. It happens. Yeah, it happens to a lot of people, a lot more than we say, a lot more than we know. But what I want to say is that what I have discovered is that the workplace is the least common denominator. Healthcare is the factor. RX for Life is here to provide the missing system for others to reach health equity. Yes. So do me a favor, go to my website, fill out the contact form, and I will be in contact with you for enrollment to Thinking Smart About Healthcare. What everyone ought to know about equity and discrimination in the workplace. This is your RX for Life, and I want you to take advantage of this information. Until next time, be well.